In a busy city filled with noise and endless scrolling, lived a 26-year-old girl named Tuli. She had dreams, not just of wealth, but of freedom. Freedom from rules, freedom from fear, freedom to live on her own terms. But dreams don't always bloom the first time you plant them. Tuli had already tried and failed 3 times. Her first job was as a freelance designer. She loved creating art, but hated chasing clients who never paid on time. Then came her second venture, a handmade jewelry business. She worked day and night, yet the sales stopped coming. And when her YouTube channel Tuli Talks didn't take off, she shut her laptop and whispered, "Maybe I'm just not made for success." That night she cried silently, not because she had failed, but because she no longer believed she could win. A few days later, she visited her grandpa, a retired teacher who lived in a small, quiet village. He greeted her with a warm smile and said softly, "Tuli, the storm outside will calm down. But first, the storm inside you must rest." They sat under the old banyan tree, the one that had seen her childhood and his wisdom. Tuli sighed. "Dadu, I worked so hard. Every time I tried something new, I failed again. Maybe success just isn't for people like me." Grandpa smiled, opened an old leather notebook and said, "Success isn't for the lucky, my child. It's for the mindful. Let me share 7 habits that can change the way you see money and yourself." Grandpa said, "People often say, money can't buy happiness, but that's half a truth. Money does bring happiness when you use it to buy freedom. Freedom to choose, to help, to create." Tuli frowned. "Freedom?" "Yes," Grandpa smiled. "When you have money, you can walk away from what drains you and walk toward what fulfills you. Money is not evil. It's energy, neutral. It becomes good or bad by how we use it." Grandpa looked at her eyes. "Do you know the biggest mistake people make, Tuli? They think failure is a full stop, but it's just a comma." He chuckled. "When I was young, I failed my teaching exam twice. If I had stopped, I would never have taught thousands of students. We avoid failing because we fear judgment, but freedom lives on the other side of that fear." Tuli whispered, "So, I shouldn't be ashamed to fail?" Grandpa said, "No, my child. Be ashamed only if you never try again." As the wind rustled the banyan leaves, Grandpa continued, "Work hard, Tuli, but don't tie your joy to results. Detach from the outcome. The Gita says, do your duty, not for reward, but for excellence itself." Tuli looked down at her palms, realizing how tightly she always held control. When you stop chasing results, you start attracting growth. Grandpa opened his notebook to a page marked Inner Scorecard. He said, "Most people live by the world's report card: cars, clothes, likes, and followers. But true wealth begins when you decide what success means for you." Tuli asked, "How do I know what that is?" Grandpa smiled. "Ask yourself, if no one was watching, what kind of life would still make you proud? When your happiness depends on your inner scorecard, no one can bankrupt your peace." Grandpa said, "People fear risk because they only see what they can lose. But the wise always ask, what if it works?" He drew a small graph in his notebook. If your effort has even 10% chance of success, but can change your life by 300%, that's worth the leap. Dreams grow when you dare to overestimate the upside. Play bold. Life rewards courage, not caution. Grandpa closed his notebook and pointed to the sky. "Look at those birds. They spend their mornings building nests, not scrolling phones." Tuli laughed softly. He continued, "Create, my child. Write, learn, build, teach. Don't fill your time consuming what others make. Creators change the world. Consumers just observe it." Grandpa took a small pebble from the ground and said, "See this stone? To build something new, you must start from the stone, the root, the principle. Don't follow blindly. Question everything. Understand why it works." Elon Musk used first principles to rebuild industries. Tuli used it to rebuild her life. Weeks turned into months. Tuli started again, slowly, quietly. She stopped comparing herself to others. She built her business not for applause, but for purpose. Each morning, she repeated Grandpa's 7 habits. And little by little, the girl who once doubted herself began to rise again. Her small online craft store grew. She managed her finances wisely, and every success, however small, was rooted in calm gratitude, not greed. One morning, she opened Grandpa's old notebook. On the last page, she found a line she had never noticed before. In his neat handwriting, it said, "You don't build wealth by chasing money. You build it by shaping your mind." And as the sunlight touched the page, Tuli smiled, not because she was rich, but because she was finally free. She had learned that money is not a destination. It's a reflection of who you become along the way. So, if you've been struggling with your dreams, if you've failed more times than you can count, remember Tuli's story. Success is not built on money. It's built on mindset. And the richest people are those who never stop learning how to think differently. And that's how Tuli built not just her business, but her mindset.